Translate. So this specific article is about how young adults are watching this guy and being turned into Nazis or something.
Based.
Well, if only it was that. I think he's turning them into pickup artists or something. I think that's a better assessment, really.
Yeah, that's the reason that I actually wanted to have this have a sort of small conversation on this guy, because he seems to have sort of come out of nowhere and exploded onto the scene. I think it was Jay Green River who mentioned this previously, that his TikTok has over like 15 million views, and that's mostly young people. Partially, I guess, due to his image, and the other reason is that he sort of runs this thing called like the Hustler University that's kind of built on this it's not like this kind of MLM type structure, like multi-level marketing or pyramid scheme, as people used to call them.
In the spirit of emergent behavior, I will add that he currently is or has dated Michaela Peterson for a long time. And she has quite an extensive PR network. So him exploding might have a reason.
That's the Jordan Peterson to Andrew Tate pipeline.
I was thinking that maybe he has built a network of contacts that have allowed him to quote unquote explode on the scene.
Explode onto Michaela Peterson. I'm sorry, I can't. I just I'm unstoppable.
So that's what she meant by a purely meat-based diet.
Please. We need to be stopped. We must be arrested.
Order, please.
I'm sorry.
Move on, I think.
Yeah. Let's. Sorry. So, I suppose my take on the whole Andrew Tate thing is that it's, the Tate viewed from the right should be to say that they're right in saying that it's quote unquote toxic masculinity, but I mean it's for the wrong reasons, right? Because you're buying into the product of Andrew Tate, the product of the pickup artist and the bodybuilder, sort of, instead of traditional masculine roles. What do you guys think?
What I sort of like about this guy is that he kind of sets a totally new standard that we can work back from, which is quite comfortable, actually, where he just comes out and says that, occasionally or allegedly, this is what he says, according to these articles, that women are property of men, and that, only women can cheat on men, and men cheating doesn't count, and so on. And it's actually quite comfortable if he's like the outlier, then we can stake out a position that's slightly more moderate and look good by comparison, which I actually think is a pretty good thing to have happened. Even though I do think this guy's kind of a grifter. This guy's like this kind of super bacteria as a combination of both the kind of pickup artists and these kind of wealth gurus. If you smash them both together into one person who is like this kind of super Saiyan version of everything that is retarded about like these sort of YouTube guru stuff. But I mean, having this kind of the kind of kickboxer fighter thing going on, where he's talking about actually being really rough and tough as a man and trying to fight your way out of the world and so on. Especially with this stuff reaching Zoomers, because I feel like Zoomers have the best radicalization potential of any generation, with them being completely kind of ahistorical, and they are blank slates in a sense.
I mean, if you can get Thomas777 on TikTok, I think you could pretty much just sell the Zoomers straight up on all the remissionism. I think they just buy it.
Oh yeah, let's try. That's going to be our new project. That would be right. Great. If I see articles, that's going to be the goals of the Longhouse. It's just to get an article with Thomas77 in this newspaper, where like you have to warn your kids about this guy and try to explain why he's wrong. But that's what's been interesting when I look at this newspaper, is that these articles are sort of damage control. It's not like preemptively trying to explain some of this away or trying to quote unquote vaccinate people against this stuff, because that's the language that I've seen used in some of these articles. They talk about, you know, like this one woman who was writing an article about him, and she used like gender neutral pronouns in the articles.
By the way, the guy who wrote
yeah.
this article is our old friend
Jacob there.
Yeah, he usually shows up in the most subversive of articles.
Well, I mean, he writes in a like less polemic style than I think most people do, but he seems to have just kind of specialized into this type of culture war, pop culture stuff. That seems to be the only thing that he knows.
True.
And I mean, you know, when they talk about, you know, they're now talking about you have to talk to your kids, like, because they realize that probably now if you have like a Zoomer child in school, they've seen this guy, so they now have to figure out how are we gonna like de-radicalize our children or de-radicalize their boys from this stuff, and giving examples of how to talk to people, and so on. But I mean, the problem is that how could you possibly be more vaccinated against this viewpoint if you live in Scandinavia in current year? I don't imagine any like civilization or anything at any point in time where you've been indoctrinated with more crap against like this sort of BAP type worldview. And like they're still sort of lapping, you know, they still seem to be lapping this up. So maybe there is something to Moldbug's, you know, idea of like the revolutionary
Zoomers. Yeah, we'll get to that later. It's one of the points we have from the event here.
But yeah, generally, I actually think this is a sort of positive development for us, because this is a thing that we can, you know, this is a reference point that the Zoomers will have, even though he doesn't have like a perfect worldview according to us. Then we can sort of use him as a kind of stepping stone to get to something else, instead of using Jordan Peterson or some other kind of like centrist, you know, centrist influencer.
I thought you were going to say, or some other centrist cringe.
I'm not gonna say it, but yeah. Sorry, I had to take a sip of beer here. I think the chat seems to agree with us on this, so unless you guys have any more takes, I think we should just move on.
I barely know who this man is, and
I just know it through like osmosis of articles like this talking about how this guy is the worst.
Yeah, let's just move on.